What's going on, everybody? I want to do a Facebook Live broadcast with this segment of the Shukri Wrights show. You can call in. The number is listed 855-915-WMFO, 855-915-9636. So, yeah, this is going to be an interesting segment coming up in about 100 seconds. So, if you're just waking up this morning, good morning, and I hope you enjoy this this segment that we have coming up, talking about David Price and Kyrie Irving have something in common. We're going to talk about it live on the air in just under 90 seconds, so stay tuned. All right, we're going back live in about 50 seconds. Just stand by. All right, we're going live in about 10 seconds. Welcome back to the Shukri Wrights show. This is Shukri Wrights, and you are listening to 91.5 FM WMFO Medford, Touch Free Phone Radio. Thank you for tuning in on this Saturday morning, and thank you for listening wherever you may be. If you're just waking up this morning, we have already discussed a lot. We talked about in the first hour a lot of Red Sox talk. We began the hour actually talking about Enes Kanter and Kemba Walker beginning the Celtics tenure with an introductory press conference at the Albach practice facility over in Brighton. And, you know, it's not often that the opportunity presents itself where you have two, or should I say had, but yeah, you have two players who are superstars. One of them is a star. The other one is a bona fide star where you can make legitimate comparison on. I actually thought about that. And I actually thought about it immensely this week. But how many people realize that David Price and Kyrie Irving absolutely have something in common? I wanted to purposely do that pause for a moment because I really don't know how many people would have honestly thought about this. And this was something that, after this whole thing of David Price and Dennis Accuracy story resurfacing from 2 years ago, the incident in which we talked about and during the first hour of the show, the one thing that I couldn't help but really think of was, my God, you know what he really sounds like? Minus the whole narcissist attitude. Kyrie. Minus the confrontation on the airplane. But this is absolutely Kyrie Irving-esque. I can't help it. Allow me to explain. Allow me to explain. Look, we know that David Price chose to sign with the Red Sox as a free agent. Kyrie, on the other hand, was traded here. Funny enough, the trade happened 2 years ago this month. So, one had a choice. The other one, kind of, but not really. One, when you look at David Price and his behavior from his first season, and you look at Kyrie, listen, the first year that Kyrie was here, remember the whole talk about, well, I believe that the earth is flat, and I believe that I'm just going to be this mercurial guy who's going to be a little off-centered, weird, and just had this really weird vibe to him. Okay, cool. You're not the first or the last NBA superstar to have had such a weird persona to them. I'm sure Dennis Rodman, to a lot of 90s folks like myself, comes to mind. I'm pretty sure of that. So, when I look at David Price, he doesn't come across as a weird guy. He doesn't. He's very, I'm just going to go home and just play a little Fortnite on my PS2 or PlayStation, whatever game console is available, and I want to play with my dog, Astro. I think this city just absolutely, it just sucks. Everybody's up my tush. Just leave me alone. Like, the absolute consummate complainer. Kyrie wasn't that in his first year. You didn't really see a whole lot of that. But my question now to you, the fan, at what point did it all begin to shift and balance themselves out where Price, his behavior and his antics began to mirror Kyrie Irving's? You can call in 855-915 WMFO 855-915-9636. 2018. 2018 was where things began to really get bizarre. And I look at David Price because entering last season, he hasn't, at that point, hadn't won a playoff game, hadn't done diddly squat in October, and let's be honest, let's be completely honest. His performance against the Cleveland Indians in 2016 didn't help matters. His performance against the Houston Astros in 2017 didn't help matters. Before last year, he hadn't done anything in the playoffs. So entering 2018, after a very difficult 2017 and dealing with the media and the scrutiny here in Boston, he absolutely decides, I'm just gonna come into spring training and just have this whole new, this attitude where it's like, you know what, I have my guys back. I'm going to be the consummate teammate. Kyrie, on the other hand, should I stay or should I go? Should I stay or should I go? It really began as a legitimate question. Is he going to stay or is he going to go? And this whole thing of talking to the season ticket holders, the fans, before the season started. Actually, it was shortly after the season started. And just saying, I intend to resign here next season. And I can't help but just think to myself, interesting. David Price was asked in 2018, following the World Series win, was he going to stay or was he going to opt out of his deal? He opted in. Kudos. Kyrie? I'm going to resign. And then the 2018-19 season unfolded. Here comes the drama. Here comes everything you did not want to have happen. These youngins, they don't understand what it takes to win in this league. These guys are absolutely, they're clueless. It's about what I can do for this team. What me. This whole talk of absolute self-inflating ego that Kyrie has. You see, the problem with Kyrie and David Price is that they both have egos. And if you're going to be a superstar that's going to get paid a lot of money, you better make sure that you have some type of ego. Some are more apparent than others. Don't fool yourself. If you are one of the best at your position and your craft, you have some type of ego. Kyrie's came out later than what people would have thought. Price, you could say came out day one. Almost. I'm gonna be a little fair. I'm gonna be fair. It didn't come out immediately, but I can't help but think to myself, when that whole 2017 season unfolded, and in the manner in which it did, and at the height of which the whole controversy between himself and Dennis Eckersley, color analyst and baseball Hall of Famer who works for Nesson, that whole conversation took place and people just wanted him gone. I myself included. Because, he's not built to win in the big market where the expectations of a championship is so high and is absolutely demanded by the fan base. I'll give him that. I'll give him the fact that he silenced his critics. But he hasn't changed. Kyrie, on the other hand, he dragged out his whole thing. Past January into the new year. So what do David Price and Kyrie Irving have in common? They lack character. They both are self-proclaimed, absolutely Boston media loathing, sackless individuals who, by the way, when it mattered most, once upon a time, couldn't do anything. And here's the thing that adds insult to injury. Remember the whole thing when Kyrie was like, well, the regular season is absolutely overrated. Come talk to me in the playoffs. That's what it's all about. At the time, you're like, you know what? Okay, fine. I'll give you that. But even then, you better show up. And in that series against Milwaukee, what does he do? Completely gives in. He gives up on his teammates. He knew he was gone. Let's be honest. When you are invested into something and you are committed, you don't quit. And that's what we saw. And the biggest thing that I especially with the events that took place this entire week with David Price in particular, and I'm going back and forth between Kyrie Irving and David Price here, that it just showed that even with having the proverbial trump card, he hasn't changed. You can't do what you do and completely crap the bed in the manner in which you did last night. By the way, in case if you haven't realized, Price started last night against the Orioles and got absolutely shelled. Dare I say, he got his behind handed to him. 6 runs in 4 innings to a team that's literally feeding on crumbs in the AL East. So how is it that you create this drama by your action? Because ultimately, how it all started was you being an absolute sackless crap and confronting another adult who happens to be older than you. And instead of dealing with the matter like an adult, you absolutely decide that it was going to be okay to ambush him. So lack of character is one thing that absolutely that Kyrie Irving and David Price lack, that they both have in common. I'm going to point out another factor here that they both have in common. Price? What can I say about Price that wouldn't offend him, quote unquote, since he has skin that is thinner than loose leaf paper? He has no thick skin. None. Zero. They're both about themselves. I'm sorry. Excuse the whole thing of, well, he's supposed to be the ultimate teammate. The problem that I have with that is this. I look at men like Mariano Rivera, for example, who's about to be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame tomorrow, as a matter of fact, as being the consummate professional class, for him to have accomplished what he accomplished in the most difficult and largest media market in the world, that is New York, and to still have the aplomb in which he did, that in itself is the epitome of what having character in class is about. I haven't seen that from David Price, and I sure did not see that from Kyrie, because a person that has dignity in class absolutely shows up and supports his teammates in a Game 7 of an Eastern Conference Final, not worrying about some darn nose job for a movie that you're filming, or whatever the excuse is. I don't care. That boils down to character. And the lack of heart, it truly was appalling to watch. And I find it absolutely amusing that Price and Irving, those two men, are the example of what you don't want in an athlete playing in this city. Self-absorbed, classless, gutless, and absolutely child men. They're both man-childs. So yes, I'm calling out David Price. And yes, my tirade against Kyrie Irving continues. Because right now, they are both on top of the pyramid. As the two athletes, one used to play here, one still plays here currently. But what you don't want, men, and I do say men, because they both act like little boys. They both act like little boys who don't know what to do when they finally land a hot date. You don't want men who don't know how to come to the forefront and perform when it matters most. You don't want players who don't want to be here. You want players, and that's another thing that both Price and Kyrie Irving have in common. They both don't want to be here. So my thing is, why suddenly now that he decided he wants to act up again? After allegedly, Alex Cora, he had an interview on WEEI earlier this week. Supposedly told the host, I spoke to David Price, it's done, and then you absolutely pantsed him essentially by going to talk to the media about the very thing you talked about, not that you told him not to talk about. So what does that tell you? What does that tell you? Self-absorbed, selfish, classless, sackless. Those are the things that those two men have in common. Amazing how your action speaks louder than words. And at the end of the day, your words don't mean a thing if your actions are contradicting what you're saying. When we return, after this break, we're actually going to talk a little about the Patriots because, in case if you haven't realized, training camp starts this week. NFL training camp starts this week. And I don't know about you, but I'm excited. I am absolutely excited. I cannot wait. We're going to talk about that. Plus my opening thoughts on the 2019 New England Patriots. That's all coming up next. This is Shukri Wrights, and this is the Shukri Wrights Show, and you are listening to 91.5 FM WMFO Medford, Touch Freeform Radio, and we'll be right back.
Protect his home and family from disaster. Steve used courage, wisdom, and his...
Thank you guys for tuning in. I am going to head out. We're all on break now. Thank you guys.